Welcome everybody to today's pick a card reading. We have 4 groups for you to choose from. The theme of today's pick a card is going to be a humbling experience that will come through. So whichever group you feel is the most drawn to, timestamps are in the description box so you can jump ahead. I do have like a very quick kind of general message that I was getting as well. And they were just sort of saying like, all you need to do is open your eyes. So I think that's going to be like an important note to kind of take forward with us. But then they kind of proceeded to, they want me to like elaborate on the theme of this reading today. So I originally wrote down anything you can do, they can do better, a humbling experience. And they wanted me to actually define like a couple of words. So, and I think this is something, I assume that we'll probably see a little bit more of this as time goes by as well. So the first word that they wanted me to define was compete. And so whether it's like the Oxford languages or like the Google AI, that kind of pops up straight away. For compete, we had strive to gain or win something by defeating or establishing superiority over others. The examples was be able to rival another or others or take part in a contest. The next thing that I was looking at was, I guess, like, is it ethical? So what ethical competition could look like would be, it would embody characteristics of being fair, respectful, transparent, honest, focus on mutual improvement. So you can still be in competition and, still try to like beat someone or be the best at something, but you can still do it in a fair way of, I guess, just seeing who is the best and like looking at it from a self-improvement kind of focused frame of mind, I guess you could say. And then we were also looking at unethical competition. And so it was, the examples was, or characteristics was false or misleading claims, improper interference. So that might look like sabotage, and discrimination and bias. So the competition needs to be kind of laid out fairly so everyone can participate equally, I guess, in some way. Okay, that being said, I think we don't really need to go into too much more. I actually forgot to list out the crystals for the 4 groups that we had. So group 1, we have I think it was like Hematoid Quartz or Hematite in Quartz. And then group 2 looks like Caribbean Calcite. I don't know if people want to see it. Group 3, we have the Rubellite. And group 4, we have Rose Quartz. So whichever group there that you're interested in, use your timestamps and we'll get started with group 1. Okay, welcome in group 1. If you chose the Hematoid Quartz, and this will be your reading today for the humbling experience that seems to be based around themes of competition. And the very first card that we did take was actually the 5 of Wands, so it's uncanny how that has come through. We also have the Ace of Fire here as well, so it is really like that burning sensation, burning passion, burning drive. With this is highlighting the fire signs with the Wands suit here of Aries, Sagittarius, and Leo. It's like fire on fire is the only way I could explain it right now. And so we will take more cards in a moment. I did just get a bit of a message that was coming through. And it was really weird because I kind of, like, when I was asking, I just heard like boo-hoo. And it was like the follow-up that I got was, show me what you've got. And it was an energy of like, bring it, like, show me what you bring to the table. And they want to compete, but in an honest way. So this seems to be like that very genuine competition of like, who is best? I'll give you a run for your money, in kind of like a playful, cheeky way, but like serious at the same time, but also very honest and fair. So they genuinely want to see like who's the best, and they want to strive for greatness, and they are enjoying it in that sense of the way of, even if they don't look like they're having fun or could be quite serious, it's very much like, wanting to do better, but also wanting other people that are like an equal match to really bring it to the table. Okay, so there was that part that was coming through as well. And so this could actually describe your energy, if it's not an energy around you that seems to be coming through for that, like that message that we had of anything you can do, they can do better. So it really could be a case of someone that you deal with in the day-to-day, or if you're in like a specific organization or sport, or I don't know, like some sort of competitive kind of environment. It doesn't even matter what it looks like. Like even if you're just taking like a music class and then you enter into some type of like a Stedford or I don't know, a concert or something, like a gig battle. I don't even know what that would look like for different people, right? So it could be anything. Workplace, obviously. Okay. If you're I specifically need to say, if you're like an entrepreneur, or if you're like an influencer or something, like some sort of content like producer or digital marketer, creator or something, I feel like it's taking it to another level. So there's definitely something here about like a level up, taking it to a newer level. And it's like, you're kind of entering, I'm getting a feeling of you're entering into an arena where the people around you really can do it better. But this is also your chance where like they're kind of interested. I feel like you've got their attention, and they are kind of they do want to see genuinely what it is that you might bring to the table. They do genuinely want to see if you can really hold your weight or throw it around where you need to. And it's like, they want to see if you're like a worthwhile competitor, like. And it doesn't even give me the feeling of, they're not insecure where they're like, oh no, there's a threat, someone's out to get me, better kind of keep an eye on it. It's very much like that cheeky, will you give me a run for my money? Will you make me work for it? Will you come toe to toe with me? Can we play like a bit of a game here kind of thing? So actually it seems to be out of a kind of, I don't know, happy-go-lucky. I don't know, maybe not happy-go-lucky. Seems to be more of a fun thing or a game thing. Anyway, more cards. So before we do anything else, I want to take an archetype card. Whatever it is, you definitely could be in like some sort of creative industry or field. What? It could naturally be like, I was like trying to put it away, but we had the Queen come out, right? So I'm going to put it away and we're going to keep going and we'll see if it comes out again later. But I just feel like it's that the Queen coming out, it could be representation of, you know, you stepping into that bigger arena where maybe you're at the level of dealing with people that are kind of at the top of their game, okay? Or you are used to having been at the top of your game for the level that you were at, and now it's like you might not know exactly where you stack up in comparison. You could be a person who would just happily like jump in, like just grab it by the horns and just, there we go, the vision, hold the vision. Really, like if things get tough, I don't know, maybe it would. Maybe there's just going to be a lot going on and it's like you just need to keep holding the vision so that you don't... I think it is meant to be like a humbling experience, right? So there could be something here that when you go through the very humbling experience, you could find that like you enter into this new like arena, I guess, and maybe these other people or a specific person really is better at you at this point in time in whatever it is that you do. And it would somehow like however it is that you might lose or come off second best or runner up or something in this situation might actually be the humbling experience that you haven't had so far. And so when that happens, there is going to be something here to really hold the vision, really keep that focus on what your goals are, and that envisioning what it looks like, that moment, that thing, and whatever it is. It's like, I really strongly get some of you just genuinely really want to be the winner, and you genuinely have the capacity to take it there. Yeah. Also, this person, is it one person? Two people? Yeah, it feels like two people. I wonder, are you guys kind of part of a team? But there is like, you might compete with other people in like other teams, or are you a part of a team, but when it really comes down to it, there is a point in which you do have to go independent and compete against each other. So there is kind of like this like healthy, you belong with us, part of our group, but we know that we do still all really have to do our best, and that there is some level of like healthy competition. I don't know. Do you know, this is just the example that I'm getting come through is like, maybe you're at a workplace and you are all part of a team, and maybe you all have your own different goals as people do. Maybe a new position opens up and you are all still trying to actively demonstrate why you would be the best for that new position. So that's one thing. But it could even be something as simple as like, whatever your environment is in, maybe enter into like some sort of, what would it be, like a charity run or something like that. But then it's like that area for people to really allow that like healthy competition to come in. And so it's like, you are kind of part of a team and you do kind of belong to like with each other in some way. But at the same time, it's like, it's a chance for you to put it to the test. Okay. All right, let's see something else. I am getting something here about the way that you fall might not be so graceful, and it might not be so harmonious. So it could speak to something that, I don't know, if you do have someone rival you or they come out on top in some way and you do fall, I wonder if it could be like a bit of a shock if it hasn't happened before, if you've not, like maybe if you've always naturally come out on top and it's not ever really been a struggle, maybe the time that it does happen could be. I'm not sure what that'll look like. Let's take more cards. Oh yeah, I want to lay these out. 7. Okay, so straight away we have a 7 of Swords. So it's like the sabotage, kind of deceitful stuff. And we did line out in that general message section the definition of like the unethical characteristics of like what, you know, yeah, what's like what's competing unethically, I guess we would say. We also have the 2 of Cups and the Knight of Swords. So this could really be a person who would kind of go behind your back or sabotage you in some way through pretending to have like a very close relationship. This could be you too, okay? So just depending. I felt like the energy that we were getting through with those first lot of messages was that this person was very healthy. So, I mean, this could be you guys. Maybe you're afraid that you're not going to win just based off your natural skill, because you know that you have come in at a level that like you're not used to competing against people in like at this higher level. And so you kind of figure that you could stack the odds in your favor in some way. Or maybe it's not that. For some of you, this whole being in competition could be robbing your mind of the experience in some way. But there is definitely something here about a really close person. It definitely could be a relationship, and it could also be just like a person that you have a really close relationship with. The energy that I just want to keep reading the cards. I'm just going to piece it together as I do. This is part of like when I do a shuffle on camera, it just naturally is a little bit slower to kind of string together the messages as we go. So we're going to do that. Bear with me. You're welcome to kind of fast forward the video a little bit if that's something that you feel you need to do. This is how I read, and yeah. Okay, so Okay, the other side of something that I'm getting here is that there could actually be a conflict. So this, I thought that this was all based around competition, and there could still be very strong themes of that, you know, competing, but it actually could be like there is some sort of conflict that has thrown someone into this competitive energy. So it's like they maybe figure, I don't know, it really, what has he got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Maybe it's like the channeling of, like the healthy channeling of an energy that otherwise seems out of control or like needs a bit of tamping or taming, where if you are in conflict with someone, or this person's decided they're in conflict with you, I don't know what's happened. It looks like something's already happened here, okay? So that would already make sense to you. If nothing has happened and it's not what I've already previously spoken about, we could have another like example come through, but otherwise I would say that at this point in time, this may not be your group. So it's like something has happened where there's been a conflict, and it's like this person has taken a rise or taken it upon themselves to kind of rise to the occasion to place themselves in competition with you. And it's like they may have used whatever that energy was or any emotions they had around. I don't feel like there's a whole lot of emotions here. If there is, it's maybe more of like petulance or being like aggravated. I don't know, like being, I just want to say like being pissed off or something. And just, I don't know how petty it would really be, but it's just like a feeling like they want to one up. So after the conflict, someone wants to like one up the other person, and maybe it's not even about one upping them as much as it is about proving their own worth or their own capability or skill level, or demonstrating that they truly are the best. Like, okay, that's fine. We can have a conflict or whatever, but like maybe the conflict was over like something competitive. Okay, so that would make a lot of sense with that. Where it's like someone had tried to be competitive in ways where maybe it was unethical or unwarranted or something like that. Maybe they took it too seriously. Maybe they were a bit of a sore loser or whatever. But there's been some sort of conflict around competition and the ethics of as a theme. And then it's like, because of that, it's lit the fire to hold the vision, have a goal in mind. I want to be the best. I'm going to show you what I'm made out of. And it's like, I'm going to take it there, and there'll be no need for the conflict or this like awkward side eye competition, because there will be no argument. We'll put it to the test and I'll show you. And I just, like, whatever side of this you're on, it doesn't matter. But there's definitely a person here who I think they feel like they cannot, for whatever reason, they just don't want to leave it up to like actually, I was going to say leave it up to fate or leave it up to chance. So like maybe there's not even as much of a knowing that this person will kind of crush the competition, but maybe it's more of a case of like it would just be too much mentally to like give it leave the chance that maybe you don't win or this person is feeling this way, where it's like I need to do what I can to kind of make sure that I'm as best prepped as I can. But in doing that, it feels like they're taking something from someone else, or it's like, you know, Seven of Swords is the card that I'm talking about, right? Typically it comes through as like deception, like lying, stealing, cheating kind of card. But it can be like getting out of something or sneaking away or sort of flying under the radar, being undetected. And so I actually feel like for some of you, whether it's you or this person, someone here is going to be actually trying to fly under the radar. I think that's more like, it's like, if I can fly under the radar and not be seen so brightly or not be seen as like a possible competitor or something like that, I've kind of got an element of surprise. But there's something here where this like Seven of Swords energy is actually mixing in with the Two of Cups. So that's that sort of closer, intimate relationship or like a strong bonding here of some kind, where it could just be like a sharing of like deep meaningful like conversations or deep emotional connection, where it's like, is someone trying to pretend their emotions aren't as involved here, or is someone trying to, is there deception around a close relationship or connection here? Is there something here where it's actually a call for us to look at ourselves through this situation and realize that we've been letting this scenario get the better of ourselves when we actually put at risk or jeopardize what could have been a really good close relationship? Like, maybe this was actually it. And like with the Lion here, even though Two of Cups is typically a Cancer card, sometimes comes through as Gemini for me, but with this Lion here at the top, it does make me think of Leo, and Leo is like meant to be like a very loyal zodiac sign. So it just makes me think that there's been some type of behavior here that has really jeopardized what could have been a super close relationship with a lot of loyalty. And I feel like there's something here where it was like an enjoyable relationship. It's not just like you put up with something long term for like you feel like you're selling part of your soul to get this loyalty. Nothing like that. It was a good, it had the ability to be good if it wasn't already quite there yet. But it's like it's been somehow sabotaged, or someone's, the other side of it is like, I wonder if someone like was trying to fly under the radar. Like we said, there was something about two other people here, right? So if there was two other people here, like was someone trying to fly under, like go move undetected or fly under the radar around some type of like other connect, like whether it was a couple or a set of another two friends. So this could speak to like three people. So like third party situation doesn't have to be a relationship and infidelity situation. It literally could be three friends, and it could just be that there was one person in this trio of friends that was trying to fly under the radar or get away with something, while the other two were too busy just enjoying like the close connection that they had or something like that, where, you know, this, we've already talked about like conflict and holding the vision and knowing, having a goal in mind. And there is something here where like maybe this person was so set on their goal that it was like friendships aside, that's what matters most. It's a little bit hard when we've had that third person or that third party kind of come into the mix here, because I feel like the first person I was talking about, it was like quite honest. It was just like, yeah, like let's like have fun and let's both bring our best to the table and we'll see who's best. And it'll be like an ongoing thing where there'll be times where, I don't know, it doesn't matter who wins or loses. We're trying to, like, it's fun. It's a game. It's, I don't know. Anyway, there could be something around this situation where it could have taken you a while to work out what was happening here. It could have taken, I'm just sort of getting twists and turns come through. So like maybe you thought you had it worked out and then boom, there's another twist or like a spanner thrown in the works or something, and it kind of throws you off the scent. Or you think you're like moving so far forward and then boom, something happens and it throws you off your game, or I don't know. Anyway, so we also have the Knight of Swords. So it's like, I just want to take a moment to ground this because this feels too flighty for me. Definitely could be lots of air signs here as well. I just want to see if I can ground this a little bit. Let's say no, keep going. All right, so I'm trusting that this resonates for you guys. Definitely don't take anything that doesn't resonate. Don't try to make anything fit. Don't let the reading take from you. Definitely share in the comments whether, you know, it like did or didn't resonate for you. If it doesn't resonate, I would always encourage you to like, you know, look at another group just on the odd chance it's not your group. But there are times where it's like some of the messages coming through are very scrambled and it can be hard to make it streamlined. So we'll just go forward anyway. All right, so it was like whatever that situation was, somebody here was like focused and they were taking action, moving towards something. They could have been going really fast. They might have thought they had all the information, but they actually didn't. So it could have been like, you know, making a decision with, not knowing everything that they needed to know about the situation, and then incidentally looking like the fool, or somehow putting themselves in a position of being subject to something here that they hadn't noticed because they didn't have all the information. And it's just wild how that kind of stacks up right next to each other. But, you know, we've got the Three of Pentacles here as well. So it does definitely confirm and speak to a trio for me here, or a third party situation in some way, where there's definitely two people here building a nest, working together, and like, you know, gathering food together and hanging out. And then there's like this other person who seems to have had their own, like, I don't want to say an agenda. I think they were on a different wavelength. I think they had like a different goal in mind. Them, like, mentally, they're operating differently. Like, they think differently, or they want different things, or they've got different things on their mind as opposed to these two other people, okay? It's weird how it keeps happening. It's like two people, someone else. And then again, two people, someone else. Anyway, it looks like maybe this person felt a little bit silly that they've jumped the gun, or maybe they I don't know if they got caught out, or if they felt like they needed to do something rash to kind of like shut it down, or if it was like maybe they genuinely thought something was happening that wasn't happening. Like, they may have thought that these other two people didn't really want them in the trio or in the third part, whatever that looks like. It feels more like a trio. And they're like, oh, they just want to, you know, do their own thing, and they don't really want me here, or saying, well, stuff them. I don't know, like, maybe I can get away with this, or maybe I don't know. This is weird. Anyway, but it's like, maybe they felt, it's like communication. The communication has been stifled here in some way. And it's like, maybe they thought, oh, I wonder if this person tested something. I wonder if this person said something. Like, I wonder if they said something to one person to see if they'd tell the other, or if they were trusting. Yeah, I don't know. It's like they could have been testing loyalty, or they could have been throwing something out there to throw people off their game. They could have been saying something to hopefully drive a wedge between these other two people, but these other two people didn't falter. Like, they seemed kind of genuine at heart in some way. I am going to read this again at the end, guys. Like, I'll go through this and we'll do it again, because it feels messy. I hope it makes sense. But like, they just, when they've said something real brash, or they've thought they had someone pinned and they wanted to call them out on it, or start an argument, or put someone in their place, whatever it was, they ended up looking and feeling really silly, while these other people were like genuinely working together, waiting for this third person to come join them to work together. And then it's like, I think at that point it was kind of obvious, or they were exposed, that something that they were doing was actually like for their own benefit, or not for the group's benefit, or that they had been underhanded in some way, even if they originally weren't like a bad person or something. Or like, you know, not a bad person, but like maybe originally they didn't have bad intentions. And in this moment, they sort of got caught up in something, and then this whole thing has snowballed. And it's a sad thing too. It's like, I think what they wanted was just this 10 of Cups situation where, like, you know, community is sorted, good people are around you, fulfilling, supportive relationships. There's like, it seems like a season of bloom and growing. It seems like good times. This is where like families can come together. So there could have been an essence of being like close family friends or something like that. Because I kind of get the vibe here of like, you know, even if it's, I don't see children, I see like two couples. And within like a vicinity or something like that. So there could have been the potential to have like long life family friends out of the situation or something there. Or people that, like, you know, if you have kids, you want to make sure that the people around your kids are trustworthy and stuff. And so, but it seems like it could have been everything, where it was like people that you like, but you also get support out of or something like that. I don't know. All right. I'm going to take a moment. Let's see. Let's see, there's something else here. As I was getting like the call for you and I to separate was undivine. So if anyone at any point in time had felt like there needed to be some sort of parting of the ways of one of these connections here that was really heartfelt and kind of deep or very close or something, it was undivine, as in I don't think it was divinely orchestrated. I don't think this was something that was I think this had like a third party influence. I think that someone else, like I see someone throwing a stick in the spokes of a bicycle and it jars up the wheels, and all of a sudden the wheels can't spin anymore, and then it's like the wheels hit the brakes and then a person goes flying off the handlebars off of their bike. So it's like someone, kind of that, like, you know, analogy of like throwing a spinner in the works. It's like all of a sudden it all conks up and it like the machinery breaks down or something like that. I definitely get something here too where someone's heart was at stake. So like a very close, I feel like it's a very beautiful connection there as well. Could have been something like really great. So, I'm going to take more cards. I just want to sort of get that clarified a bit better than it was. But there's also something here where a lot could have been happening under the guise. I'm missing the second part of it. I don't know. Something could have been happening that was hidden. Something could have been happening overnight time. Something could have been happening under like a false pretense or something like that. I do feel like there's at least one, if not two people here that were like, I think one person that was like a genuinely like healthy competitive person, in the sense of, when I say healthy, they like had a lot of ethics around their competition, or when they did decide they would compete or something like that. Okay. So can we get some clarity on this? Unless there's another storyline. No other storyline. All right, so we want clarity. Someone didn't know that something they were doing wasn't like working. Like they didn't know why something they were doing wasn't working. Like they could have been not paying attention, or they could have been kind of carelessly doing whatever they were doing. They could have wondered. They could have just been waiting for something to really take hold, but instead they found themselves in a different area. Like, so I'm just going to keep reading. It's sort of just getting like that, I don't know, is it Pete Murray, or there's another one, I can't remember his name, John Jackson? I can't remember what the name is, but there's like that song, like, I was sitting, waiting, wishing you were, I don't know, something and superstitions. I can't remember. Waiting, wishing. Yeah. Jack Johnson? Could have been, I don't know. I'm still getting lyrics, but it's like, something about like, so this is my first time, so please ignore the next two lines because they're directed at you. I can't always be waiting and wishing on you. I don't even know if that's exactly the lyrics, but I can't always be playing a fool for you. All right. Okay, so again, I'm getting that reiteration here where there was like two people that, I don't know if the two people were like closer out of the trio than like all the other connections in the trio, or if it's a case that they were both kind of innocently or honestly intended, like ethically intended in some way. It seems like kind of carefree and fun, right? Like there was not much to it. Maybe these people were waiting around for something, and so like while they were waiting, they were just kind of exploring life together in some way, and it was kind of like a wish fulfillment for them. But there definitely looks like there was some sort of new beginning that like a new ideal was born of. Maybe someone got a chance here at something they didn't think they would get a chance at. And look, the Nine of Cups used to be such a good card for me, and as energy is fluid and it changes over time, the more and more that I start to see the Nine of Cups and it is a wish fulfillment, I kind of get it as like a crooked, smug energy where it's like the guy has a smug look on his face and he's really just like waiting. It's like they're happy when something works out in their favor, like to suit, I don't know. Yeah. This person could have just known, like one person here could have just been kind of naive and carefree, like not really paying attention and just like focusing on themselves and their work and whatever it is, like any sort of self-improvements that they needed to make. And then you've got this other person here who's like really waiting for an opportunity. That seems like a wish fulfillment. Yeah. But this whole time, there's this like King of Wands character kind of overseeing everything play out. But I think they're kind of annoyed or aggravated or like pissed off or something for the second time. It's, I think they seen something about this dynamic they knew. And we've got like the Ace of Swords next, so like the truth. So this King of Wands could have really seen the truth early on, or their back is to the truth though as well. So they could have been defending the truth. They could have been protecting the truth. They could have been it's something here like just because something looks one way doesn't mean it is that way kind of thing. So I don't know if they just got clouded. We need clarification. Were they clouded or could they see it? They could see it. Okay, good. But there might be something about this person, this King of Wands character, that was like, you couldn't tell whether it was like true or not. All right, so this being said, a few more zodiacs. So we already touched on Leo. We're definitely getting Aquarius. We with Uranus here as well. I think that's really the only ones that I see. We did the fire signs with Aries and Sagittarius. What else do we have here for like this humbling experience? I think for a lot of people, like for 2 people out of this experience, you could have seen somebody step up into this King of Wands energy that you weren't used to seeing them in that light. Like they may have typically come through in a different energy. I'm going to actually pull a card and see if I could get what they typically might come through as instead of what they're now recognized as. So we've got Ace of Cups, Knight of Cups, and Knight of Wands. So it's like maybe people still knew that they had like this little bit of, I don't know, it could be it doesn't even seem that sassy. I was going to say it could be a sassiness, but I don't think it is. So they could have been like quite peaceful. They could have been quite supportive, nurturing. I think they just had a lot of love to give, and it may have seemed like that was all they had to give, or maybe something about them seemed a little bit flaky, or they could have been a bit moody, but I think in a good way. I'm not sure. They could have seemed hot and cold, could have been something. Or they could have seemed like a person that maybe they just live in like an emotional space in some way. And then all of a sudden, because of something that happened in the situation, they've had to really step up and embody this King of Wands energy. And then it was like the truth. I think the truth came out, or the truth came out on top, or something like that. Like, yeah, okay, anyway. I feel like we're getting off track. So that was like that comparison of how a person could have been seen and how that changed over time. Yeah, I think the truth is out about whatever the situation is. Like, I think like everybody is aware. Everyone involved is aware. And so the humbling experience could have been the truth coming out, or like the truth of the situation was the humbling experience. Like, someone here could be feeling like a bit of a dickhead. I don't know. I don't want to like say stuff like that, but that was the words I was getting. I just mean you could be feeling like silly, or like you didn't notice, or like you've potentially been taken for a ride in some way. Yeah. I think there's something here with this truth too, that it's like, it's so, I don't know if it's obvious or if it's like bold or it's just out there. It's like, I just get the sense that if anyone tried to cover it up, it would just look ridiculous, because it's like the truth itself is like obvious that it is the truth. So whatever that was about. But I want to go back. So there's something here. This, like, these original cards that we were getting come out. So it's like the humbling experience, right? There's something about the truth here that was very humbling and how things played out. So there was a conflict, and I think somebody has taken it upon themselves to really step into this energy of, well, if I'm going to be put in a position that I need to compete, or like there's going to be conflict in anyway, I may as well focus on my vision. I may as well stick to my, like, being driven towards my purpose. I may as well hold the vision. So it might not have been some of you, it could have been a message that that's what you need to do, and this person could have been an example for you. But for others of you, you're already on track. And it's like, you're not going to let someone deter you from your vision, especially if this is like the sort of stuff that's going to play out. I don't know. This reading really took a turn for me. I wasn't expecting it, but also sometimes like the way that I read, or the way that I feel in a reading, the way it kind of comes out is like very reflective of the energy at hand that like plays out. And I literally at the bottom of the deck get the Five of Swords again. So it's like confirmation. Something here definitely, like someone had an agenda, or someone was just, I don't know, sabotaging or underhanded stuff. And it's like, I wonder, like, this person could have tried to skew the vision, or they could have tried, I don't know. Maybe this person could have tried to separate two people with some sort of goal in mind, and it could have come off like it was that healthy, cheeky kind of like willing to compete. But I can't help but feel like, I don't feel like this reading has, I don't know. I'm trusting that you guys, you know your situation, and I feel like we're not done. Like, I feel like I'm getting a feeling of I'm not ready to let this go, and I don't fully understand it. So whether it is you or it is this person, one of these people that you're dealing with, somebody here is not willing to let it go and doesn't understand it, and that could be part of why. So I guess especially if you were kind of naive to the situation that played out, oh yeah, it could have been like really stressful, really sad, created a lot of I don't know. I'm definitely getting sleepless nights come through, and I do get that come through sometimes. But a lot of confusion and a lot of like, I wanted to say emotional consumption, but I think it's mental consumption, being consumed by the mental, like, wish-wash, like, trying to work something out, but then finally getting that clarity. It's like they could have been trying to work out who was good and who was bad or something. Like, if I made it very simple, like if I kind of reduced the situation down to something simple like that. And that could also be an example of how you or this person, whoever it is I'm speaking about, thinks, where it could be like very black and white thinking, like it's only this or it's only this. Like maybe there's not really a lot in between that it could be, and that would make sense why it kind of has been coming out the way it is. I'm just looking at this moon card, and we've got like one little white wolf up top here, one black wolf here, and then this lady is like, seems to be lost underneath all of it. And I don't know about you, but I know if I was underneath the water looking up, you only really see the surface of the water and maybe blurs of color like afterwards. And so it could be like a distorting view or something. But there also could still be things that are hidden here, or that she can't see. For some reason, it's something that she can't see. And for me, because the moon is there, and it is relative to the mother, it is relative to early childhood or family roots. It is also like related to the like feminine qualities. And on occasion, I do get it kind of come through as like the undercurrent, the relativity to the tides, the relativity or the link to like the tides of the waves of the beach, like when the water comes in and goes out, is like linked to the moon. And sometimes the patterns that you see in the sand and in the clouds is linked to like the tides and the moon, and everything kind of in like perfect osmosis of the world. And so it's kind of like when we start speaking about like the tides and the moon being linked, it feels to me like unconscious or subconscious things going on here that we're not really aware of. So there could be something here from your childhood that makes the situation very hard to get clarity on. Like maybe there's, and if it's not that, it might not be linked to the childhood. You yourself could be a parent in some way, where maybe you have little kids, and so like when you do get time to try to work this out, you've already got too much on your plate or too much in your cup in some way. There's also something here, if like your view is distorted on it, it's like you can't get clarity. That's what I feel like. And then there's something here where it's like you finally take the blindfold off and boom, you've got clarity. And this feels voluntary. It doesn't really feel like I know there's a lot there that we can't control when we talk about like the moon side of things. So I don't know, for some of you, I specifically feel like you could have been like heavily influenced by the moon or by like a full moon or something, or maybe you actually have like your own mother. The way, like if you go to a mother or a parent or something like that and you kind of converse with them on this topic, maybe they have nothing conducive or productive to kind of bring to the conversation. Like there is no real clarifying. They don't see clearly. So yeah, this could be a few different things. I feel there's sort of something weird that's happening too that I've noticed with like at different stages in my life. There are times where people speak and it appears obvious to me that I am at like a different vibration, like vibrational frequency to them, because I almost feel the vibration of their speaking, and I feel like this is happening right now. So there could have been something where between the two or the three of you, or like at least one other person here, you weren't really in alignment with. So like when one person spoke, it wouldn't really be received. They would feel in the dark or confused about it. And then when they would speak, they're coming from like a totally different place, if that makes sense. So then there's a lot that's kind of left up to or trying to find your way through like a murky kind of muddy water or something. But there's also something here where one person could have been, you know, living in their, what is it, like your inner child. So it could have been something here where one person was kind of stuck with something to do with their inner child or to do with when they were growing up, that it's like when they're looking at the lens of a situation, they're only seeing it through that of whatever happened when they're a kid or something. It's like it is kind of stagnant, and then there's levels of it that was not voluntary as far as the moon goes. But it does seem like there was a way that it was able to be cleared up, where it was like someone finally got to a point in time, a position where they were able to free themselves from whatever this was. And it could have just been as simple as, I'm not going to listen to other people anymore. I'm going to make up my own mind, or it might take me a while, but I'm kind of going to sit here and I'm going to close my eyes and I'm not going to look at like, you know, what both of these people say. I'm just going to sit still and I'm just going to observe the thoughts that come up or process whatever this is, and then kind of later receiving clarity. But it seems like, it's weird for me to try to explain this because it's just what I'm getting coming through, but a lot of it seems kind of contradicting. But then I think sometimes it's just the way it stacks up. Like, yeah, we were at this stage and now we're at this stage, and that kind of, it's just how it panned out. But like someone here could have had like multiple people in their ear. They could have had multiple people saying things, or even if they weren't specifically like putting down another person, it could have been something where it's like lots of people were saying things that maybe they weren't even judgmental or bad, or I don't know. It just could have been like this person taking on things that other people were saying around them, even if it had nothing to do with them, and they kind of felt trapped or I was going to say like clogged down by other people's opinions on what they thought was right or wrong or something. So there could have been a clash of like the ego, and I'm hearing the id, which is not a word that I use, but it's to do with the ego as well. But it's like, what I want to say is maybe a part of ourselves that is not so self-aware, and a part of us that we would really like to think highly of ourselves in certain moments. So it would be very hard for us to see, you know, into a certain situation if we're trying to protect our identity or how we feel about ourselves. And so that, I feel that a lot of what I've said kind of ties together in that sense, because this could have been something that was passed down from like, you know, feminine role models or like carers or figures that you had in your life. So it definitely could have been passed down from a mother, or yeah, it just, even if it's not that, something from childhood, about how you feel about yourself. And we kind of talked about this in the last reading. I don't know, actually it could have been any one of the last two readings now, where it's like maybe our ego is built off of, as an example, being a good person. So we like to think we're kind and fair and blah, blah, blah. But maybe we're getting lost in the source of being empathetic, or maybe we're getting lost in the blurring of the lines when we're running the situation through our filter of how we would like to be perceived or how we would like to feel about ourselves. And so when we're doing that, we're bringing, so for some of you, this might have only been two people, but the ego is like the third party that's joined us here that is kind of clouding things and like almost has a deceptive or misleading quality here. So there's a bit of clarity now in that situation. So it very much could be the realization or the humbling experience is that, yeah, maybe our ego has been affecting us more than we're previously aware of or would like to admit, whatever that looks like for you. And it's like taking the blindfold off, all of a sudden I can see again. And I'm like, I get the sense of kind of being a bit stunned, of like looking around and taking it all in and having that realization and just being there. And then potentially thinking about, like, it seems like processing, Page of Cups. There could be an element here where we like to idealize something or someone or part of ourselves in this situation. But I think that it's part of being on our way to having like a self-love, or I don't know, it's like part of allowing ourselves to be fluid. It's like you realize, it's like, I don't know, it could be not being very grounded as well, but we've got to take more. Maybe it's literally just the way that it felt. Maybe you realized you're being very idealistic, and that's part of the humbling experience as well. Or maybe you put someone else or yourself on a pedestal here, and that's part of the humbling experience. And then maybe for some of you, you thought you could never really achieve something great anyway, hence the interference in some sense. And so it kind of seemed of a case of like, well, I will be able to beat them fairly when pigs fly, or I'll be able to be perceived that way when pigs fly. I don't know what that is. There's maybe I will be able to have deep, meaningful relationships with people like that means something to me in my heart, that are very special to hold on to when pigs fly. So they could have been like that lack of self-love, but this is part of that journey of developing that self-love here. And they could have, I need to say that like all of these things, depending on your situation, could be true, but they don't have to be. Yeah. I do feel like there was probably too much happening at different points. Like, even if it wasn't people in your ear, it could have been too many different focal points. Like, maybe you're trying to keep up with too many things in your mind. I'm not sure. Okay, is there anything else here? This is meant to be a clarifying experience, and this is meant to essentially, like, not only just like kind of clear up any of the old stuff, but hopefully give us the clarity we need to see straight from now on, or see clearly from now on, if that makes sense. So I do see in a lot of ways how this could have been like a very humbling experience. And so for some of you, what I want to say, the conflict or competition could have been based around was like a social thing. Even though we started off in different areas, those different areas still could have come up, but they could have been interwoven or interlinked there in some way if that was a thing. It definitely seems like relationships and connections here in some way seem to be a big emphasis here as well. All right, that's everything that I have for you today, Group 1. Hopefully this is helpful and insightful to you in some way, and I will see you all in another one. If this reading resonates, definitely subscribe to the channel because I'd love to have you here. And yeah, take care. Hey, welcome in. If you chose the Caribbean Calcite for group 2, then this will be your reading today for a humbling experience. And if I didn't mention it earlier, there was a little bit more to that topic on kind of anything you can do, they can do better as part of that humbling experience. And I know that we did already talk through, you know, rough definition of compete and the ethical and unethical sort of characteristics that can come up around that. So the first thing that I'm getting is this Knight of Wands, the Sustainer, and the Ocean here. They're all meant to be representative of this other person. So it seems like this person could be quite quick. They could be pretty focused and driven, passion-led. They could be quite strong, and they could have like a strong need or will for freedom. There could also be something here where it may be hard to, I don't know why I'm getting it come through the way I am, but I'm just going to say it may be hard to hold them back in any way. It may be hard to guide them in any direction or have any type of influence over this person. It's really something here where it's like they're the director of their own life, and they choose where they are going, and they don't let anything stop them. There's also something here, so with this Sustainer card, it's like they have the ability to go the long haul with this, where there's not going to be a point in time which, like, it would be super highly unlikely that they would actually need some sort of help or something unless something kind of drastic happened. They're saying, what? I'm going to just recenter this and see if I can get something else happen. Basically, they're saying this person's not going to run out of gas. They're probably not going to change their mind. Their mind's already made up. Is there anything else? No, I think they're just sort of saying that they've got it. They're absolutely sorted. It seems like, I wonder if some of you wonder if this person might just give up, or if you wonder if this person all of a sudden will get bored of this one day or something like that. And it's kind of the reiteration of no, they will not. They are the Sustainer. They could also be a person who provides like a sustenance to somebody else or to a group of people. So there could be something in what they do. It's very like purpose-led, purpose-driven. And the depth, the vastity, and I think it's like what they do is unquantifiable in any ways that we might typically try to measure something. Okay, so let's see what else we have here. So starting out, we have the Two of Pentacles. We have I said Two of Pentacles, it's Two of Scoops. We have the Page of Dice. And we have the Eight of Scoops, the Page of Spokes, and the Magician. So it's like some sort of balancing act here could leave someone feeling like they're either waiting for an opportunity, or what is it like? I'm getting the word inaction come through. So, because normally the Knight of Swords, I said the Knight of Swords to the Page of Swords. Okay, so there's something here where it's like you could be used to being a person who just takes action and already knows like what direction to go in. But the fact that it's coming through as a page, even though we had the Knight come through as well, says to me something here that with this inaction, it's like you might not know what direction to go in. So it could be like having a hard time with the balancing or juggling act, not knowing what direction to head in. There could be something here where it was like, maybe with whatever this area is in, you've had other things going on where you actually couldn't keep up in some way. And even when you could keep up, there was like only so much control or over like the situation or capacity that you had to be able to kind of follow through on something here. You may have had to walk away from something that you really didn't want to walk away from. You could have poured a lot of yourself or your heart into whatever this was, and it could have really illuminated something for you about yourself, where it's like maybe you realize the reason that you were going after something wasn't actually what you originally thought it was, or maybe you just realized there was like an emotional or fulfillment component here. I wonder if this group, if you were like chasing happiness in some way, so when you tried to juggle whatever the situation is, maybe you're not really a competitive person, or maybe something about this situation, something that's happened has made you feel like you need to take a back seat, or that you couldn't move, or you couldn't go after something, or the amount of control that you had over the situation was kind of limited here. There's something, it's like getting the word withdrawing, so you may have withdrawn from something here, from the situation. I think it must have meant a lot too, because I feel like there would still be a lot of feelings around whatever this was. But we also have the Magician. It's like a lot here that can come of this situation that maybe hasn't really come to fruition yet. I feel like some of you have been pulled off the track for something, like if you were in a situation where you or someone else were competing, even if it was only one-sided, or even if it was like a, you know, a kind of equal mutual thing. There's something here, it's like you're not meant to be doing that. And I don't know, we do, with the Sustainer, it does make me think of like parents, or specifically a mother, like the life-giving Sustainer. And getting like a very yin energy, very feminine energy, very like, yeah, it's very female. For some of you, this could have been a part, like I feel like if you had a partner, a feminine partner, and whether they were a mother themselves, or whether there was a mother involved here in some way, that the feminine partner could have had trouble juggling responsibilities between, say for example, if there's kids in the pictures, kids and like household sort of duties, or kids and a work-life balance. There's something here where it's like two specific things that could have been tricky to manage, and it could even be something as much as like kids and their own like physical health needs. And if this is not involving kids in some way, you could like own a business or something, or you could be in a position where you provide some sort of service, or like people come to you for something, and your ability to, I don't know, this is weird. It's like maybe you struggle to juggle the ability to have that longevity. It's like you've been taken out of the ring. I just feel like, I don't even know, like, yes, this person looks very strong, and this is like the weird topic that we had was like anything you can do, they can do better, and it's, you know, a humbling experience. But I just can't help but feel like something wasn't fair here, and something was contained, And I'm getting something was not said. So, yeah. Love forgives distance. Did you like separate from somebody here, go through a separation or something? I wonder if there was some sort of like, even if it wasn't fear, there could have been fear around this person getting lost in whatever it is that they're doing, or kind of leaving you behind or going off without you or something. But if it's not fear based, it could have just been a case where it's like they are the sustainer and they are so strong and they're so driven and they're heading in that direction that you weren't sure if there was room for both of you in this scenario. But it feels like, I wanted to say the words blessed union or blessed union. So this is a different one. This could definitely be a partnership for sure. Okay. Something to do, like it's raining right here, right now today, and it hasn't mattered in any other reading, but right now it seems to be significant. So it could be something to do with the rain. And if the rain hasn't had to do with any of this stuff, it could be like the release of emotions or the clearing or cleansing or purging of something that was being held on to. You could have had to have been incredibly strong during this time, but I think there's something here that like wants to acknowledge that you're really well put together. I think there's like even being quite orderly, very organized. Everything is in its place. It has its home. You're like, it seems effortless. I would like to say that to me, there seems like a lot of clarity and a lot of groundedness here. It's like, I almost wanted to say we had the Empress and the Emperor, but not quite, but probably pretty close. You could be worried that that whole thing about anything you can do, they can do better. It could be kind of confronting to, if you are partnered or in a connection with someone that is kind of evolved, or they are good at everything they do, or they are really well rounded, even though you're pretty good too. You can see there are certain areas which they've already kind of overcome certain challenges that maybe you haven't like been met with that yet, or you've been working on other things, overcoming different things. I don't know what that is. There's something here where it's like your strengths, whatever it is that you experience was like a testament to your strengths. And that there could be something here where it's like you may not feel great, that you, for whatever reason, you could be comparing yourself to this person in some way. And if it's not a comparison thing, it could just be like you wish that you were further along than you were. You could be being, I don't want to say it's being impatient, because you look very patient. There could just be something here where you wish that you didn't experience what you did, so that you would be further along, even if you are just like a very patient person anyway. It might not really be about time for you. It might just be about where you want to get to, or other things in life that you want to kind of achieve or collect along the way. And it's something about like that strength that you, I think in some ways you may look at that time you had to be strong as a time in your life that was just taking away from the time you could have been spending building yourself up. So it's almost like looking at it with like a negative spin or something, because you wish that you could have been doing something else, or you could have been more productive. But I think that whatever that strength thing is, wherever that area of your life is where you had to be strong, it's like that's part of why you're able to share the same space as this Emperor character. And the red and the red jasper seems to be like very important. So I think, I don't know, it's pretty, like for me, a lot of the times with like lines, I get like Braveheart coming through. And her little, like, what looks like a red crystal love heart necklace to me. That, yeah, it looks like red jasper, but it's also like the heart with the lion, with the brave heart. So there's something here about you where it's like a fierce quality, the endurance quality, the ability to bring it to the table quality that this person likes about you. There's something here where you're able to just grab things and do them. Like, I don't know, like you're able to, you're not shying away from whatever comes up for you or anything that you're faced with. You very much like meet it one-on-one at eye level, ready to overcome another scenario or situation. I do feel like there is something here where you definitely have at least a quiet confidence, if you're not very overtly confident. I think you know. And I wonder if sometimes with this person, if you think that they are looking for something special, or if they are looking for some sort of brilliant mind, like they want to be stimulated or engaged in a different way to whatever it is that you perceive yourself to be, unless you know this to be true already. It's like this person is looking for maybe a creative or out of the box original thinker, someone who can see things that aren't always so apparent. Anybody can look at a landscape and say that's a tree, and this person wants to know what a deeper take is or something like that. And so while it could be true, there's also something here. I think this person could have a tendency to get carried away. So if they themselves have some sort of creative or passion project, they could have a tendency to give it like all of their attention. And then it could leave you wondering whether this person is kind of interested or not. And I don't think that this is because of any lower nature. I think it's really just like appreciating my time and presence and knowing my worth. And so I think I'm getting the word conjointed, like a conjointed presence. Some of you could have children, and so you may feel like that's part of where your time and attention goes to, where you may miss out on building yourself up in the world in other ways or the similar ways to which this Emperor character has. And so it's like maybe they have more room for creative thinking and expression than you do. And there could be something here about recognizing how you have had to just fight or be strong or look after the people, like be a provider in some essence, provider, protector, almost feminine energy, so that maybe people don't always see you as this like creative, original spark of a person, because you're mostly only able to be in these other energies because of everything that's been happening. And so it could be something there that you feel gets lost in communication or in translation, or that you may not feel seen. And if it's not about feeling seen, you may feel like there's so much more to you that's kind of untouched or undiscovered at this point in time, because you are so busy being that like sustainer energy to other people. So you could be on either side of this. It definitely, like, just flip the energy. So anything you can do, they can do better. A humbling experience. I think with this group, this seems very much just like accepting our reality. Like, I don't know if there's much here I can really tell you guys. What else is there? That's a different page. Listen. So we did have competing stuff come up earlier. This to me looks like competing priorities. It doesn't even look like maybe there is in essence some type of comparison between the two of you, just with where you're at in life or who you have the ability to be through terms of like capacity, time and space. But I think it's competing priorities. Unless this person, I want to take more cards. I don't want to just assume something here. I know there are times where it's good for me to throw out different possible scenarios, but I don't think this is one of those times, and I don't want the group to get lost. So we definitely have fire signs, so like Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, and we do have Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus, and Gemini. There we go. You may be faced with a lot to like contemplate. You may be faced with like a lot of situations that you kind of need to mentally work your way through. And it could be something that seems never ending, or like you can't get rid of it, or it's part of who you are, or there's something like it is like ruminating, but it doesn't have to be. There could be a lot of negative thinking going on. And if it's not negative thinking, I mean, it could just be something like feeling hopeless or not knowing why something here is happening or how to make it better. But I feel like you're just being guided to follow whatever it is that you feel drawn to. Like if you feel drawn to something and you want to do it, just go do it. Don't think about it. Like getting stuck in our head and going round and round about it, or letting ourselves talk ourselves out of it, or feeling too attached to different expectations or something like that, and then not allowing ourselves to do it, or kind of stressing ourselves out a little bit maybe, or just like maybe you're thinking about things that people would say, and the things that they would say are like, it doesn't concern them. I don't know. But I think there's something here to say too, that like what you have to offer is good. And maybe this is like the next part of your journey is like skilling up in a different area of life, or being like stepping more into that sustainer energy. And I think that you would find, I'm getting the word conversely coming through, but I think that you would find that through natural, like a product of your way of living, it would just naturally happen that you will be more built up in this one specific area or something like that. So we have confirmation on Gemini as well with the Lovers card coming out. So definitely confirmation there on a partnership of some kind. And it could be like a lot of nostalgia here. It could have been like you could have known each other when you were younger. And then you could be seeing where you've wound up at different stages in life so far. Maybe you felt like this was such a long-term connection that was always going to be in your life, but for whatever reason it had to end, or it couldn't go the distance. And so there's like a grieving to that whole process when you really want to hold on. And then there's like a trying to protect yourself to avoid that pain and disdain again, so that you can focus on other things or move towards other things or have new goals or have fun, or it's like finding your purpose. It's like finding your own purpose. It's like connecting with what you want to do. It's like maybe something about this situation's taking up too much space, where it's like, I don't know, you have only so much time, only so much attention, only so much capacity. If this person is actually not paying attention, because for whatever reason, the competing might not have to do so much with your dynamic between each other, but like you feel like you're competing for this person's attention. There's something here where it's like you actually have a lot to offer. You could be getting in your head about it, but there's something here to be said about like you showing, you being the light in the dark, like you not needing this person, like you finding your way through this situation and being the thing or the person who draws people in some way. I don't know. Hopefully this makes sense to you guys. But the Caribbean Calcite for me is always like a very soothing, kind of calming, grounding crystal. So it could be really good for your heart space. Yeah. Like a flow and ease of the heart space, if that helps. All right, so that's actually everything that I have for you today, Group 2. Hopefully this is helpful to you in some way. And yeah, I wish you luck on your journey and you take care. Thanks. Oh, if this resonated, definitely subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in another one. Take care. Hey, welcome in Group 3. If you chose the Rubellite, then this will be your group reading today for a humbling experience. And with that side note of anything you can do, they can do better. And I was getting the lyrics out of a song by Slotface, which was thinking if you think hard, you'll make it better. Telepathetic. And so... and there could just be something of like going round and round in your mind, trying to be like very prepared or like contemplating things to a point of almost like exhaustion. Like the topic kind of loses all of its body and life because it's kind of thought to death. And there's when you could kind of be outside having fun or something instead. And there's also something here. So like telepathy could actually be a thing. And some of you could be wanting to develop some sort of like mental understanding of something like telepathy. So just take what resonates there. But it could be something where your mind has a hard time wrapping itself around the concept. And so that could be something that could potentially weigh you down as well. But just keep in mind, you could be on either side of this because very soon it will... right now, it seems like this is definitely for you, the audience, the viewer. But in a moment, it will probably start to split off into like, you know, that anything you can do, they can do better, something like that, some point of separation. So we also have the Castle card here. And I'm actually going to read from the book on this one for this reading. Like, there definitely could be a keeping up with the Joneses energy here. There could be something to do with, I was going to say an aesthetic, but in my mind I had calisthenic, which is like a type of exercise, I guess. And your body could be seen as a temple, and this is the castle. So something here, there could be stuff to do related to the physical body, to do with beauty, to do with physical appearance, to do with adornments, but to also do with like how your home is sort of decorated or something like that. So definitely could be like a keeping up with the Joneses, or feeling like we're putting our best foot forward, something like that. The palace, the penthouse, the fortress. It's no wonder fairy tales tell of sleeping princesses within castle walls. Like most archetypes, the castle is loaded with duality. It represents abundant riches, seductive fantasy, ornate wonders, and lavish adornments. Yet the walls are thick, cold, and shadowy. This card points to a tendency to hold on to possessions, quite possibly a literal home or position that projects the image of achievement, while the soul longs to run barefoot in the forest, leaving it all behind. At times, we must settle down, yet the castle lulls us with its spell of materialism, and we fall asleep to our deepest dreams. The castle can be a motivating force, an enchanting goal to travel toward, but it is not best to linger within its walls of decadent deception for too long. Notice how castles are designed to keep things out. They I was going to say they divide, but it says they defend, they separate. It is likely there is connection and community beyond its walls that will revitalize you. If this card appears with the king, the queen, or the maiden, know that you've entered into long-standing family dynamics that include property and power. Okay, so we're not at that stage. Right. There's definitely some type of division, and we already mentioned about how you could be like outside doing things. Instead, there's this like laying down in bed and thinking about things, kind of could be looking out the window, but it could also just be realizing that you're not going outside when you could be. There could also be some sort of like thing around a home here where I don't know if it's a case that the home is not what you want it to be, or like it is everything you want it to be. It seems more that that would be what it is. And you like, yeah, getting out of the house. I don't know. Okay, what do we have? Anything you can do, they can do better. You could have really spent a lot of time into planning, preparing, curating your home to be in a set way so that it was kind of perfect, but then in someone else's eyes, it's still not ever really perfect or something weird like that. But like to their own opinion, where it's like they, you know, they think that they can do it better or something. But for this humbling experience, before we get to kind of off track here, something about, I don't know, just it's like staying inside the four walls and thinking yourself to death. Anything they can do, you can do. Did something happen where you had a humbling experience and this is kind of afterwards, and it's like you've already laid in bed and you're thinking about it, and maybe you don't really feel like going out, you just want to stay at home a lot right now, and it could have had to do with somebody else that thinks they can do better, or I don't know. I want to take more cards. We've got a confirmation on the Four of Swords. It could be staying inside of the comfort zone. It could be not wanting to bridge the gap between you and family, or you and other people that you know or have fallen out with, or maybe people that you don't live with that, I don't know if it's because you don't see them often enough or something. But there's also some sort of like wild card here. The letters J and A could be very specifically closely related. So their name could have a J or an A in it. There could be something here about like thinking about a situation for what it is and wanting to kind of come together or make up in some way or to come to a truce. So it's like even if you're at odds with each other, you can at least choose to, I don't know, just be generally neutral. But then you're unsure how this would go, and it could be an issue in your mind that is growing and growing. And this may not be with just one person. I kind of felt before that this could be with multiple people as well. So again, the letters J and A seem to be important for this one. And so whatever the unknown factor is here that we can't really account for, it's kind of like if you decided to initiate a truce of some, whatever that looks like, of some kind, and then you don't know what's going to happen afterwards, but it looks like there's going to be some sort of like really quick incoming change, like very fast. And I'm getting something here where you may be wanting to test the situation. So it's like the change will happen very fast, but you may not be believing what you're seeing or something like that. I'm just getting the words like swords are no good for you. So I would take that as like swords to me is a very mental energy, that this mental thinking, spending lots of time in the mental space is no good for you, or at least around this topic or in this particular situation, because it's like you may not ever get off the track. You may never get outside that thought bubble. You may never stop going round and round in circles. Something, I don't know. I'm going to take more cards. If you don't decide on a truce, or this could have already played out, there could have been a call to move away. Maybe you didn't want to, maybe you would rather move away than have a truce, than initiate a truce. But it still hasn't solved the problem. You could be quite optimistic or just happy to look at the future and what else is out there. But I don't know. Sometimes there's like a rawness to letting ourselves just be totally thrown into something. So maybe it all felt pretty raw afterwards, but it allowed you to kind of be happy. Maybe it was a decision that you felt you needed to make to allow up your emotional capacity. Some of you could have come closer into union with somebody in your life that you already you like really loved or wanted or something. So like when you left whatever this old situation was, it's like you've seen potentially a traditional person that you could make a genuine, honest start with. For some of you, there's something about the situation where you had to leave some sort of environment where you were able to previously freely express yourself, where maybe you did have a position of standing and it actually causes you a great deal of pain that you've had to step away from whatever this group or situation or environment is. I think there's something here where you could be putting a lot of focus on material or superficial or cosmetic things or aesthetics or something like that, where maybe if we focus on the makeup that we wear or the clothes that we wear or how we look physically, that it will give us something else to focus on to kind of take away some of the pain here, or at least distract us or make us feel good. I'm just going to take a moment to see if I can get anything else off the crystal here. There's something here. I feel like you could be you could be on the other side of this, where it's like the original quote was, anything you can do, they can do better. You could actually be on the other side of this, of like, anything they do, you can actually do better. So I don't know if you guys are kind of down on yourself at this time, or if you don't like realize, or maybe you do realize, but you don't really want to get, it's like you might not want to leave bed. You might not want to leave the house or something, or you might, I don't know. I do feel very tired the longer I stay in this energy, and it does make me feel foggy. I'm having like a hard time kind of trying to continue on any message here that's worthwhile delivering. Yeah, they're telling me that that's everything. So group 3, hopefully this is helpful to you all in some way. And hopefully it did resonate. Definitely let me know in the comments if it resonated. It's definitely worthwhile subscribing. I just, I don't really like to kind of cut off a reading like that, but I'm not going to waste your time if there's nothing else coming through. So thank you for joining me. Take care, and I'll see you in another one. Okay, welcome in group 4. If you chose the rose quartz crystal, then this will be your group reading today on your humbling experience, with the side note of anything you can do, they can do better. And we're starting off with the Wheel of Fortune, which I have to say Jupiter has been coming out in all of the readings today. So there could be something significant there in terms of like growth and expansion. And so you may have come out of a time of like rapid growth and expansion. Some of you could specifically have what's the word? Like not inclination. I don't know. You could have an affinity for things like the tarot and occult type stuff, or energy work and healing things, or it feels like esoteric hidden knowledge is more what I want to say. I'm almost low-key surprised that the High Priestess did not come out with this group, but I don't feel like it comes from the same place as what I would naturally connect to the High Priestess. Something about this could have, I don't know if it's come out of nowhere, or if it has always been in the works and not had, do you know what it could be? It could simply be like a rapid growth and expansion in interest in these types of topics. And so even if it's not something you always had, you could have just closed out some sort of a cycle in terms of like learning or leveling up in some way around a topic like that. Like it seems very much like metaphysical, I don't know, mystical, mediumship, and get like M words. Yeah. Okay, so we also have the Six of Swords here. So you could have had to start out again, and it's like that thing, it's like maybe when you've had to start somewhere new or start again somehow, you really just had to spend time like pouring into yourself to making sure that you're actually full enough to be able to do something. But this group, I have to say, if you already felt drawn to group 3, you could go check it out. There may be extra messages there for you if you already felt like drawn to it. But maybe there was like a rest and recovery period of time, or thinking about what it is that you really wanted in life. Like, I don't know, or maybe like what you had. This could go both ways. Some of you could feel separated out. You could have gone through a separation. You could have been separated out from a partner and a child. You may have never been separated out from a partner or child, but you may be thinking about the things that you want. And so while you're having this kind of like rest and recovery time, there's like lots of thoughts that are popping up. And I think you're trying to be prepared for what the future may look like or how you may achieve it. But there's something here where it looks like it does come into balance, or you do come into union. So for some of you, as much as what I just said could be true in the case, once you had this new start, you could have met somebody that actually helped you fill your own cup as well, where it's like you were already doing it and they came and contributed to the situation. Maybe when you're on your own, you would have a lot of time to think about things, knowing that you might actually like a union with them, or in general. There's something, with this group, is there something tribal here? Is there something like ancient? Is there something like shamanistic? I was getting the word Samhain, so it could be more of like an ancient knowledge, wisdom, esoteric wisdom, like ancient kind of magical, I don't know, something. Ancient hidden knowledge. But things that are typically like ancient occultist knowledge, things that are not usually like out at the forefront of people's minds. They don't go into too much what it is that happened here, but rather it like starts off from where you started out fresh. So maybe the journey was really rough. Maybe to get to where you have now was like really harsh conditions, and you may have lost parts of yourself you feel like you may never really get back. There's some sort of like hope here for like a renewal for you, and that you can have whatever this was again. But like maybe now is not the time. Maybe now is the time to be really pouring into yourself. For some of you, you are still on this journey to like your new start. Sometimes we have like a transitionary period before that new start will kind of take place. So maybe you have to move to an area that is not ideal for a while you get your feet on the ground, to be able to move to an area that you would like, or maybe you like have a separation, or you move out of wherever you're living, and then you have to kind of temporarily live with somebody else for whatever reason for like a couple months, until you are able to like get yourself good enough to get your own place. So it's for some of you, I need to say that Four of Wands might not be another person that you come into union with. This may be like representation of having your own home, your own space that's steady, stable, and secure, and safe. Yeah. So this very much could be a journey of moving out of one place, going through very uncomfortable times, trying to fill your cup while seemingly losing a lot at the same time, just to be able to finally get your own space. But there's also, I think there's something here where you need to know that it's going to be like good for your growth as a person overall. And then there could also be a thing here where it is to do with a relationship as well. Yeah, so I feel like overall this experience has been a humbling experience. Okay, I don't really know if there's anything else here that I can sort of tell you about this situation other than to be kind, compassionate to yourselves, be soft with yourselves, take care of yourselves, kind of be forgiving, like self-forgiving or forgiving of others or something if you're, you know, at that stage, if you're ready for that. Support yourself in any way that you can through this time. Yeah. All right, that's everything that I have for you today, Group 4. Hopefully this is helpful to you all in some way, and I'll see you in another one. Take care.